Hey YouTube family, what's going on? It's your girl V the Notary. I hope you guys are doing fabulous today. This video is for my home buyers, okay? Strictly for my home buyers, whether you are a first-time home buyer, whether you are, skilled at this. I just want to put you guys up on a little game, let you guys know about some information and some costs that you guys should expect when you are buying a home, okay? All right, but before we get started, you guys, I love you all. Thank you for your continued support. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I have some excellent things coming down the pike with my channel. I'm going to be doing a lot of interactive things with you. I have some great things coming up. I don't want you guys to miss it, so make sure you guys hit subscribe, share my videos, like my videos. And as always, I love and appreciate all of you guys, okay? So, this is for you guys. You're looking to buy a home, you're currently in the market, you're looking to get pre-approved or whatever stage you guys are at. I just want you guys to know that there are 3 upfront costs that every home buyer is going to incur upfront that you guys should be prepared for, that I want you guys to know. There's a caveat, okay? If you are paying all cash, then you only have 2 of these, okay? Outside of that, you should expect 3 upfront costs as a home buyer that you should be prepared to come to the table with, okay? Right off the bat, before, you kind of get started, have this in your mind to be prepared to pay for these 3 things, all right? So we're going to go through the list one by one, okay? And then I will tell you which one kind of doesn't apply to those of you who are going to be paying all cash. Again, if you are one of those home buyers who is just putting on, 500, 600, even 200, 300,000 upfront for a home, you guys are amazing. I want to talk to you on the side because I need to get my finances together so I can be more like you, okay? However, most of us are going to be financing at least some of our home, okay? And so let's just get started, you guys. All right. So the first upfront cost that you should be prepared to come to the table with is your EMD. And that stands for earnest money deposit. Okay. So what is an EMD? Now, first of all, normally your EMD deposit on your home is typically 1 to 2% of the price of the home, right? Okay. So if you're going to put a 1% EMD payment on your home and your home is a $500,000 home, then you should be expecting to have $5,000 as your earnest money deposit. What is the earnest money deposit? An EMD, so we'll just refer to it as EMD from here on out. Your EMD is like a good faith payment. You're saying, okay, and it kind of lets the seller know that you are serious about moving forward with the transaction. So for instance, you found the home that you absolutely love. You tell your realtor, oh my goodness, I love this house. I want to put an offer on the house, right? You want to offer, let's say it's 500,000, 300,000, is the offer price. So, and you talk with your realtor and you guys are like, okay, we're going to go ahead and do a 1% EMD. So that would be $3,000. That is a kind of a good faith payment, not only for the seller, but for title, for the, whoever's doing your loan, everyone to say, okay, this person is serious about this offer. In addition to this offer, I'm going to be putting this it's like the down payment, right? So you should be prepared to come to that right off the bat, with your offer that's usually due anywhere from 3 to 5, calendar days from when you put in your offer, okay? Now, let me just say this about EMD, right? Depending on how competitive the market is, or let's just say this is a house that comes on the market, there's going to be multiple offers, you might want to do 2%, just to make your offer and your EMD a little more competitive than the next person's. For instance, if it's a $500,000 house and you have 2 offers, one has a 1% EMD, which would be what? $5,000. The other offer has a 2% EMD, which would be $10,000. More than likely, the seller is going to accept that offer. More than likely, depending on the other conditions, right? Taken out of help, any type of contingencies for, a percentage of help that the buyer's asking. We're not even getting into that. Say we're just working with the EMD. The seller is more than likely to accept the offer with the higher EMD. Okay, so that's why it's kind of like 1 to 2%, depending on the market, depending on the competitiveness of that particular house. That you'll speak with your realtor, and your realtor's there to guide you, right, and to give you sound advice and help you throughout the transaction. So you'll discuss that with your realtor. But yes, the EMD is the first cost that you should be prepared to come and pay right away. Okay. The good thing is the EMD does, when you go to closing, which, let's say you have a 30-day closing, and then obviously when you close, you bring the additional money, your down payment, your additional closing costs, that EMD is subtracted from the total amount of your cash to close, right? So that's the good thing. So, but your closing costs, obviously you're paying that, you're wiring it or bringing a cashier's check once you close. But again, the EMD is what you pay upfront. Okay. All right. So that's the first one. The second incurring of costs that you should expect to pay is for your inspection. Okay. So the inspections get tricky. I'm going to give you an example. When I bought my home recently, I put 3 offers on 3 homes. One of them, the second offer, the seller didn't accept my offer. They went with another one. But it sucks, but I had to pay an inspection twice. Okay. The inspection for both, one of them was for the first house that was a disaster that I backed out of. And then my home that I have now that I recently closed on, I also had to pay an inspection. The buyer incurs the cost of the inspection. The seller does not pay that. So you should be prepared to pay that. Inspections can run normally anywhere from $300 to $800. A lot of it depends on, if you have a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom condo versus a 5-bedroom, 4,500 square feet home, obviously the inspection is going to be more for the bigger house, right? So there, a lot of it depends on the square footage. A lot of it depends on what city you live in. If you live in Miami, the inspections are probably more expensive than inspections in Nebraska. So all of that is taken into account. You have to do research on where you live, but you should, in addition to the EMD, you should also expect to pay that inspection on the inspection costs for the home. Now, if you waive the inspection, which I do not suggest you do that, then obviously you won't have to pay for that, but you might be paying for other stuff a lot more expensive down the road. So I am an advocate for inspections. Don't waive your inspection contingencies, you guys. I know it sucks. Even with me, I had to eat that cost of that inspection for that first house I backed out of, but I would rather do that than get a house with all kinds of issues, HVAC going out, water heaters going out, roof is, there's issues with the roof, all of that. So your inspection protects you from things that you might have to deal with down the road. It lets you know what you're getting. Okay. So the inspection is the second upfront cost that you'll have to pay. And also remember, when you submit an offer, you're not officially under contract. The contract is not ratified until all parties have signed everything, agreed on the terms, and then you're under contract. Once you're under contract, that is when those contingencies come into play, okay? Inspection contingencies are usually anywhere from 3 to 5 days. That means you have to quickly schedule your inspection, get that done. Your inspector will usually turn around, an inspection report right away. So, but you have to pay that right away. So you should expect to be paying for an inspection literally like the day after you go under contract. So that's why I say the EMD and the inspection, you're going to have to pay those right away. Okay. All right. So we talked about an EMD. We talked about the inspection. Now the third cost that you will incur for my buyers up front, that is an exception for that. If you're paying cash, you can do this, but you don't have to. If you are financing your home, this is a requirement. Okay, so we're going to focus on the because I'm assuming most of you are going to be financing at least a portion of your home. You will have to pay for an appraisal. Okay, so all loans for a home, that is a requirement that you get your home appraised. That is a cost you have to pay right away. Okay, within, usually within a 5-day window of going under contract, you will have to pay that. And the purpose of the appraisal, well, obviously you want to know what your house is worth. But as it pertains to underwriting and title and things like that, whoever is financing your home, wherever you're getting your home loan, they are not going to finance your home for more than it appraises. For example, let's say you put an offer in on a home for $500,000, right? You get the home appraised, and then you find out that your home is only worth $470,000. The bank is only going to finance your home for the $470,000. So there's a couple things that will need to happen. Either the seller will need to agree to drop the price of the home, which is good for the buyer, right? So that means that instead of the $500,000, then then the buyer will get it for $470,000, or the buyer will need to come to the table at closing to bridge that gap between that 500 and that 470,000. Let's say the seller says, I'm not dropping the price of the house, which usually doesn't happen, because once you're at the point in the transaction, usually the seller kind of wants to, they want to move forward. But if they don't, then the buyer will have to come to closing with that additional $30,000. The bank is not going to finance that house for that 500. Okay, so that is kind of the purpose. It's, there's several purposes. You want to know the value of your home, because you want to, sometimes you're lucky and your home appraises for higher than what you offer, which is also good, because you're coming into your house with equity, right? So that is the purpose of the appraisal. Again, appraisals can run anywhere from $400 to $1,000. That's usually the range. You will have to pay that upfront. Okay. Now, I mentioned before that when you're buying the house for cash, you are not required to have an appraisal. That is because you are not dealing with a loan officer. You're not dealing with the bank. You are paying for the home upfront with your cash. So it doesn't necessarily matter for the purposes of financing the loan, because there is no financing, what the value of the home is. Now, some people that pay cash, they still want an appraisal, because, it is useful for you to know the exact value of your house. So it's optional. If you are paying cash, you can, if you want to. Most people don't if they're paying cash, but you can if you want to know. So again, just to go over, just kind of reiterate the 3 upfront costs that you will have when you're buying a home. You'll have the earnest money deposit, which is the EMD. Be prepared to pay that within 5 days of your ratified contract. You will have that inspection. Again, we want to make sure we're getting an inspection so that you can identify any issues with the home. And then you will have that appraisal, with the exception if you're paying cash, then you don't have to. Okay. It's important. A lot of home buyers, when they are buying a house, I don't know if it's just lack of research, and it probably is, because you don't know what you don't know, right? But a lot, they just don't understand, like, you have to have money saved up. That's why it's important, obviously there's ways to get your down payment, right? Because, if you're doing FHA, you have to put down at least 3.5%. So, there's ways you can borrow from your, 401k or TSP, or, your retirement, or you can traditionally just save up. But keep in mind, let me just warn you guys, a lot of people also don't know this. When you borrow from your 401k or your TSP or whatever, you cannot borrow your EMD. So your EMD, you really do have to have that. So however you get it, whether you borrow it for someone, or you save it, or you withdraw from your stocks, or whatever you need to do, that EMD cannot be what you borrow from yourself from, like, your retirement. So keep that in mind. You can only borrow your down payment minus your not including your EMD. So just remember that you really do need to have savings for your EMD. So like I said, at the minimum, be prepared to, if it's a home for 500,000, be prepared to have 1% of that saved up. And then let's say an additional 1,200 for an inspection. In my case, I had to do two, and the appraisal at minimum. Like, you should be trying to make sure you have, I would say, $10,000 saved up for those upfront costs. And that's not even counting your down payment. And that's not even counting, you might get closing help. I don't know, your particular situation. But if you don't get closing help, then you also have to pay your closing costs, which can usually run from another 3 to 6% of the cost of the home. It's expensive to buy a house, y'all. It really is, like, when you break it down. But I want buyers to be aware of this, just so that they know what they need to come to the table with. You really do need to save your money and be prepared for that, okay? And then, if you guys want, I can do another video just breaking down like what you should expect to pay for in closing costs as well, down payments, all of that. So you guys let me know if you want to talk more about that, okay? So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Please share this video with everybody. I think this video is useful because most of you at some point in your life will buy a home or work towards buying a home, and it's very, very good for you to know what you should expect, just to know, like, oh, I can't just go into this with no money saved. You really need to save your money, and I know it's hard. Trust me, I get it. I'm not fortunate to just have liquid, I have my, stocks and other things, but just liquid money, $40,000-$50,000 in the bank liquid. I just didn't have that. I had to figure things out, as most of us do. But yeah, those other upfront costs, you should be prepared to have that liquid. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I know this video, I just spouted out a lot of things in a short amount of time, but if you want me to break anything else down for you guys, please let me know. Share this video. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for supporting me. And if you have any other advice for home buyers on what they should expect as it pertains to what they're paying out initially, please drop down in the comments and let us know, so we can learn from each other. Okay. All right, you guys. I love all of you. Thank you for being here, and have a great day. Bye-bye.